What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just a web series where we're talking about Transformers 5. This is episode number 38, and before I begin, I just want to give a big shout out to Graham. What's up, Graham? How's it going? I just want to say thank you for visiting the store, ages 3 and up, and I also want to apologize for not being there. I was just there an hour before you arrived. I was there to purchase the Masterpiece Ironhide, which is a great piece, by the way, but then I had to go. And I had just found out that you were there. Boris called me, and I thought that was really cool that you visited the store, but I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there to see you. So anyways, why don't you send me a direct message to the Ragin Nation Facebook page, or send me a direct tweet on Twitter, and I'll respond to you right back. But anyways, thanks a lot for your support, and I really appreciate you checking out my videos. So thanks a lot, Graham. Anyways, let's talk about Transformers 5. So last weekend was Toy Fair. New York Toy Fair, to be specific. And before Toy Fair happened, there was, of course, the Investors Day. And during the Investors Day, there was a big announcement made from Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner. And Hasbro tweeted this photo. Check this out. It shows right here that there is going to be TF5 on June 23rd, 2017. TF6, the Bumblebee movie, on June 8th, 2018, and TF7 on June 28th, 2019. We're getting 3 Transformers films 3 years in a row, starting with next year. One of them being a Bumblebee spin-off film. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, wait a minute, this is a little bit confusing. So is Transformers 6 actually going to be a Bumblebee spin-off film? Well, now they clarified on that, because I'm sure a lot of people were really curious about that. Now, let's see what it says here. It says, this summer we worked closely with a talented team of A-list screenwriters to map out the future of the Transformers cinematic universe. And as Brian announced earlier, things kick off in a major way in 2017 with the release of Transformers 5 in June. We're working on a spin-off movie centered around Bumblebee for 2018 and the next chapter for 2019. So that clears things up a bit. It's not exactly Transformers 5, Transformers 6, Transformers 7. More accurately, it is Transformers 5, the Bumblebee spin-off, and then Transformers 6. So, what do we know about these films? Well, first of all, Transformers 5 is going to be directed by Michael Bay. Mark Wahlberg is confirmed to reprise his role as Cade Yeager. And then it is also being released on June 23rd, 2017. So that's what we do know. Alright? Following that, you have a Bumblebee spin-off film. It is not Transformers 6. That is something we do know. It is the 6th installment of the live-action Transformers franchise. However, with the Bumblebee spin-off film, they have a lot of freedom at this point. They can do whatever they want in terms of where they're going to tell this story. I think they're following the same business model, or rather the same game plan as what Disney is doing for the Star Wars anthology. After all, we have Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which actually takes place before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So what they can do with Bumblebee is follow that exact same plan and have the Bumblebee story, or rather the Bumblebee spin-off movie, take place any time during the events of the last 4 or 5 films. So, for example, let's see where they could possibly place the Bumblebee spin-off film. Perhaps before the first Transformers film that came out in 2007. So Bumblebee had already landed on Earth. He hadn't met Sam Witwicky yet. I was about to say Shia Witwicky, but he hadn't met Sam Witwicky, but he was on Earth. Now, what was he doing on Earth? Well, on Earth, he was the 1986 Camaro? Was it a 1986 Camaro? I can't remember, but he was the older Camaro. You can call him B or B if you want. But he was the older Camaro. And what was he doing before that? There must have been something he was doing. He might have encountered other Decepticons. After all, Decepticons were on Earth before all this stuff happened. So there could have been some battles. After all, he was pretty beat up as the older Camaro. So I was wondering, we could be wondering, what could have happened. So that's one of the timelines that the Bumblebee spinoff could happen. Another time could be the events between Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction, because you know, Sam Witwicky left. He went to do his own thing, kind of thirsty. And then afterwards, Bumblebee took a new mode, or new form, new alt mode. He ended up being the 1967 Camaro SS. So what exactly happened during that time? That's a story to tell. Maybe he encountered other Decepticons and he was out, you know, hunting other Decepticons, or he was hiding from other leftover Decepticons or something, or he was hiding from humans that were trying to exterminate him. So that's another story that could be told. While I do think that hiding from humans is a story that's not as interesting, you know, it still is a story. Another timeline that could be told is the events after Age of Extinction. Does Bumblebee really become the new Guardian for what's the character's name? Is it Shane? Yeah, Shane. Okay, does he become the new Guardian for Shane, or does he take off and do something? I mean, Optimus Prime did tell the Autobots to protect them, but you know what? They never really mentioned Bumblebee as Shane's guardian. It's not the same type of relationship that Bumblebee had with Sam. It just isn't. So maybe there's a new story, and with that story, they can do anything they want, because it's whatever they decide to write. Maybe Drift and Crosshairs and Bulkhead. No. Hound are doing the protection, and Bumblebee's doing his own thing and going off into his own adventures because he's like the young Autobot. So maybe that could be what's happening. And I think with that latter option, they have way more freedom for a more interesting story. So I'm leaving those three options out there. There could be a lot more, and they could probably tell something that is entirely different from what I've already suggested. But my ideas are the events before the first Transformers film, the events between Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction, and the events after Age of Extinction. But there could be something else out there that the writers put together that I haven't thought about. But anyways, so that could be what's happening with the Bumblebee spinoff. And then afterwards, there is Transformers 6, which comes out in 2019. That's 2017, that's 3 years from now when you think about it. That's really not that long. Next year is when TF5 comes out. The year after that, which is 2 years. 2 years later, we get Bumblebee, and then 3 years later, we get TF6. So, and they also did mention that they have enough stories written for enough Transformers films for the next 10 years. So essentially, if they continue this going, there are 10 films if they continue at this rate. Most likely, Michael Bay is not going to be coming back after TF5, mainly because, well, when you really think about it, there's just not a whole lot of time. They need to be working on Bumblebee while they're working on TF5, all right? Because these films take essentially just a little bit over 2 years to make, including early development and pre-production, right? So that I don't think is happening, but that still gives him time to work on TF6 if he really is to come back. After all, when you look at the first trilogy of films, Transformers, Revenge of the Fall, and Dark of the Moon, the gap is only 2 years apart from each other. He basically worked on the next one right after coming off the previous one. So if he's going to follow that mode, that means that he would come back. But I don't think he's going to come back. But he's been saying that all along. He always says that. There's no clue what they could be talking about, or rather what kind of story they could be exploring in TF6, because we don't even know what's going on in TF5. But at least Bumblebee, the Bumblebee spin-off film, is something that we can kind of imagine what kind of stories he could encounter, or what kind of adventures he can encounter. But anyways, that is what's happening. I'm just really curious about this Bumblebee spin-off film. A lot of people are kind of against it, mainly because we've seen Bumblebee so much in the first three films. But maybe his adventures are a lot more interesting. Maybe there's going to be less humans. Maybe there's going to be a new human, like a kid human, being introduced. Maybe there's not going to be an Optimus Prime. Maybe we're going to see all new Autobots, because considering this story is a spin-off, So they can do a lot of stuff. But anyways, I'm just really, really excited that we're getting more films. And this is our first official piece of news. This is our first official piece of news from Hasbro and Paramount. So I'm just going to repeat the dates for you once again. Transformers 5 on June 23rd, 2017. Transformers the Bumblebee spinoff on June 8th, 2018. And finally Transformers 6 on June 28th, 2019. And then there's going to be probably another spinoff in 2020, which they have not announced. They don't want to think too far ahead right away. Let's just think about what they can work on right now, because if they keep with these dates, at least they can start very, very early stages of development for Transformers 6. All right, anyways, that's all I got to say in this video. What kind of story do you think they could explore in Bumblebee? Who do you think he's going to fight? I mean, he's got to have an arch nemesis in the Bumblebee film. After all, he's the hero, he's a protagonist, he's got to fight an antagonist. So who do you think Bumblebee is going to go up against in the Bumblebee spinoff? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, like I said before, this is the beginning of a lot of more updates to come. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. What's going to happen? Is it just some filming for some small scenes here and there? There's no word that there's going to be any big stunts or